Hey, Philip, welcome. Oh, geez, yeah. You start a new playthrough now. There are thousands of things that are different. And it's kind of funny because it seems like most of subscribers want to see me play more Baldur's Gate because that's what's leading in the poll I put up for the Wednesday live stream. So if we start a new one, yeah, we'll get to experience all that new stuff and maybe be able to recruit Minthara and that sort of stuff. But we'll see. Then yeah, you should be good. Hey David, welcome to the stream. Yeah, it does take a while here, but you can actually speed that up quite a bit. You can go visit Moonrise Towers immediately after you get into Act 2. So you can make a beeline for Moonrise Towers if you'd like. Yeah, there is a lot to do in the Underdark. It's a lot of content in there. I was surprised at how big it was when I first got into it in early access, and then it's just kept expanding. Hey Chippy, welcome. Yeah, if you go to Moonrise Towers first, you'll meet Marcus at Moonrise. And then you'll have a chance to expose him at the gates of Last Light Inn. Now, I don't know how that plays out, though, because I have not done that. So what I would worry about is that your party would enter into combat with Marcus out there, but the winged horrors would still spawn inside Last Light Inn, and that means you're a long way away from them, and protecting Isabel and Alfira from them may be a lot more difficult because you're at least 2 turns away from getting visibility on them in there. But again, I don't know how that fight plays out. The winged horrors may all spawn just outside in the courtyard, and if they do, that would make that fight substantially less risky to do. I guess I could go back and reload an old save, and because I have all of my saves archived, so I could go back and reload an old save and see how that fight would play out. How do you not talk to Isabel? I'm trying to think. Did you just get one of the moon lanterns from Moonrise instead and just never talk to her? Yeah, the moon lanterns are enough. There are two buffs you can get. One you can get from Isabel, which lets you wander around 80% of the map. And then there is the second buff, which you can get by either carrying a moon lantern with you, which is disadvantageous because it takes up a weapon slot, and if you get into combat, then you have to change out of it. Or getting a moon lantern, releasing the pixie inside, and asking Dolly for the buff, which will protect you in all areas of the map. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Philip, and I don't honestly know what happens with that. Because the blessing that she gives you is not the same as the blessing from the moon lantern, remember. She gives you the lesser version that allows you to wander around the map but not go into the deep shadow areas. Yeah, she gives you Saluna's blessing or something like that. And then the moon lantern gives you the Shadow Curse full immunity. Well, you don't have to do anything else inside Moonrise Tower to rescue Minthara. What you do with Minthara, and you can do it a couple of different ways, but your goal is to get Minthara out of Moonrise Towers, and you can do that one of two ways. Remember, she is at the start when you enter the prisons from inside. She's not in one of the cells. She's being interrogated by a couple of adepts, or questioners, I think they call them, inside a separate room. So you can go into that room, you can close the door, you can start a fight with them and kill them, or you can convince them that you're there to take her out. Then if you pass that persuasion check, you can take her right up the stairs, right through the main hall and out the front doors, and as soon as you get outside, you're going to be interrupted again by the two guards out front, and they will say, we've been told she was let out of her cell, but not that she was able to leave, and you have to do another persuasion check to get them to let her go. And then as soon as you take her out past the bridge, you can let her go to your camp. The other way to do it is to kill everybody in the prisons and walk her around to the very end of the prison, jump up on top of the ledge, and walk her out the back to the docks, and then walk her out to out of the docks to and jump across the open river bridge to get back into the city. Now you're going to have more fighting to do that way, but if you don't have anybody that can pass the persuasion checks, then that's a way to do it as well. You just don't have to go rescue Wulbren, Philip, is what I was getting at. No, if you just go in and rescue, have the cutscene with Minthara, go in, pull everybody out, leave Wulbren in there, then that quest will continue as normal. We'll go and get started. Welcome everyone to today's live stream, episode 31 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Paladin gameplay series. I'm Commander Jorval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So, on some admin notes, just a reminder from what I said yesterday during the Bard live stream. I'm battling an upper respiratory infection, so I have to cough a lot. It's gotten real nice and juicy now, so if I mute my mic occasionally and disappear while I cough, then I apologize. And then if I forget to unmute my mic, please mention something, throw something in the chat, let me know about it. I try and do it in a way which reminds me that I need to unmute it, but sometimes I forget. So I think the other admin note that I want to talk about is the fact that I did miss an update while I was on vacation. I mentioned this in a community post on the 7th, which was not this previous Thursday, but the Thursday before that while I was on vacation. Hotfix 21 went live. Hotfix 21 has some UI changes. They've hopefully now fully fixed the 0 gold at vendors thing, and that sort of stuff. And there are a bunch of continuity fixes with Minthara. There was a chance that if you knocked her out, you weren't able to find her at Moonrise Towers and that sort of stuff. So some big changes there that hopefully they fixed. The full patch notes are on their website, or on Larian's website, so feel free to go check those out. But make sure your game's updated to the latest version to make sure you're being able to take advantage of all of these fixes and updates. So I think that's it for our admin notes. So on our recap, at the end of last week's episode, we had a fight with Ketheric. And we had fought our way into Moonrise Towers. We had made our way up to the roof, and we had convinced Ketheric to leave. And we basically did that by beating him down enough until he summoned a large tentacle, which blew up the roof and carried him away. And that opened up a new area for us to journey into. And we're going to jump right in and take a look at that. Hey, Astamura, welcome to the stream. I actually don't know if casting invisible... Well, because... Yeah, that's an interesting question. She's listed as a follower. She's tied to your main character, or whoever you talked to her with, she will be attached to. I didn't try to cast invisibility on them because I was playing as a bard, so I was going to be able to pass the persuasion checks without a problem. I'm not entirely sure if it works or not, but yeah, I mean, that's a good thing to try with a save. Okay, so here we are. Our party is up here at the top, taking a look at our action economy.
Direct me.
We're
looking ahead.
A little bit down, but not terrible. However, I am going to take a long rest here. I want to venture down into the Hollow Tower with all of my action economy completely available to me. I don't want to venture down there short because once I get down there, I'm not going to be able to long rest. So let's get this done now. And I'll just quickly look and see if anybody has an icon above their head. It doesn't look like anybody does. So I'm not going to have any conversations. I'm just going to head straight to bed here. Well, wait a minute. We did have the fight with Ketheric.
Just what I need.
What can I do for you, my friend? The thing that will decide my fate forevermore. Yes, it's been on my mind. Why? Well, in theory, it's simple. Destroy Cazador, stop ritual. That's assuming we want to stop the ritual. What? I've obviously thought about it. If I was the one who completed the ritual, I'd have such power. And I could walk in the sun without fear I'd turn into a mind flare. Of course, I don't even know if I could complete the ritual. It may be impossible, but it certainly is tempting.
Okay, so let's just take a quick look.
Did you want something? If not, I'm perfectly happy to just gaze upon you a while.
Okay, so I don't think there's anything else that needs to happen down here, so let's just head to bed.
This does.
And we'll just leave camp. Astarion's encumbered. Okay, did I pick up... I think these are his arrows, right? Yes. Yes, I did pick up some more... Before we go down there, let's clear out the rest of this stuff.
What's next, I wonder?
No time to rest.
My faith protects me.
And we will leave all of this in our camp. Okay. Club. The club bug. Killing me, Smalls. Okay, that just doesn't work. So we're gonna have to carry a club. How about we send it to camp? That bug is so stupid. Okay, we'll leave that. Okay. So now we will transfer all of this to Shadowheart.
What am I to do?
Oh, I have the magic touch.
Okay. I think that's
no one
it.
back home will ever believe this.
We did pick up the 2 mines from our camp chest.
I wonder what the next move is.
Okay, and then we will send that backpack to our camp. So now everybody should be fairly low. Good.
Let's get going.
Okay, so now while we're up here, let's get all of our buffs going. Okay, make sure we still have our packed weapon. We do. And
The air is ripe with magic.
okay, and then last thing to do is Gale. Okay, so we're going to cast it. And then once we're up at 7, we can just cast Armor of Agathis, and that should take us to 10. And we get Armor of Agathis active, and I think that's all of our buffs for now. Oh, one more.
Keep a blade close. Is that blood? No, never mind.
Whatever comes, I'm ready.
How delicious.
Okay, so
All's
for
well that
this, I
Not as bad as it
believe...
could have.
Since we don't have the cantrip. Okay, so now we're ready to go. So let's head into the hollow tower here.
The hole yawns back at you, impossibly wide. A single tentacle.
No, Chibi, there's
through
not.
stone.
Everything down here is... There's nothing time dependent down here. Shadowheart looks so cool.
This must be where they harvest the tadpoles. We're close to the source of the infections.
All of this sitting beneath moonrise. For how long? And how deep does it go?
Okay, so you do get the rejuvenating miasma condition down here, and this is again just like what we got in the entrance to the Grand Mausoleum. Animate Dead does not require a corpse in this area. So you can cast Animate Dead all you want, and I noticed something with Astarion. Okay, yeah, because I'm getting the additional Paralyze here from Ghoulish Touch. And then once I use it once, I will change it out to back to Killer's Sweetheart. Yeah, so I can get the Executioner trait back and combine that to possibly get another paralyzing attack. So while we're here, make sure that we don't need his thieves' gloves stuff. Okay, and I think, want to change this out just temporarily. There's something I want to test with the Justiciar Scimitar. And I'm going to want to have that available to me. So here inside the Mind Flare Colony, you can see we can explore around here. There's not a whole lot to see. There are some viscera piles and that sort of stuff that you can look through inside this first room. But then you're going to have a membrane up here.
Fall by my hand.
And you can see that we have intellect devourers and they're yellow.
Tread
They're not
carefully.
hostile.
We are very close to the source of the Absolute now. That telepathic storm has become a tempest.
Okay, so we're free to roam around down here. You can talk to the intellect devourers. You're not going to get much of a response from them.
The little brain is attacking. They must think we're all on the...
And we reach our first intersection. So going through this way or this way.
Oh, cursed to put my hands on everything. Ugh, the stench. I wonder how many pilgrimages to Moonrise ended down here.
Okay, so inside this room is the morgue. And we actually saw a part of this through this wall when we went into the area on the other side of this wall inside Moonrise Towers. Our arm, we were on the other side of the wall over here, and we actually saw Chop talking, speaking during that time. So let's go up here and talk to Chop.
No will sparks behind his eyes. His mind has been hollowed out to better echo the commands of the collective. You could kill it, end its miserable life of enslavement. Surely that would be the humane thing to do. You could take advantage of its vulnerability and plunder what's left of its hollow mind for anything that could serve you.
No, sorry. Here, they become. Pardon, of one mind. 4 little feet dancing to same song.
With a lurch, you realize he means the intellect devourers. Here, the brains are harvested, made part of the hive mind.
But there is one little kitty dances to another song. Same song as you. Chop, chop. Help them become locked up. Bad kitty thinks it is other. Master. Down deep. 1 of 3. 1 of 3. Yes. Yes. Please.
Okay, so Chop here and the intellect devourers. Chop has been the one responsible for chopping up all the bodies, freeing the minds so that the minds can be turned into intellect devourers. And over here in the cage is us. You remember us from the prologue where we freed us and had us fight with us against the Mind Flayer and Commander Zalk. He's now here, and we have the opportunity to free him, but we're not going to free him now. There's a high chance that he dies during this encounter, so we're just going to free Chop from his bondage.
Your violence hasn't gone unnoticed. It's about to be returned in kind.
Mate, not for long. Time for jump.
Okay, I'm not going to give a Divine Smite there. No need for me really to do it. So what I want to check here... So detection cones all over. I have one here. I don't want to provoke that attack of opportunity, though. No, I can't do that because that would use my bonus action. Let's hold his action, see if we can kill this Intellect Devourer with Gale. And we're going to do this an unconventional way. We're going to walk up to him, and now we're going to walk away. Now we're going to walk back next to him and walk away again. Actually, that's not going to matter because it won't trigger an attack of opportunity a second time. Okay, so now he's dead. Now I can go to Astarion, move him over here.
This way.
Oh, you're kidding me. The guy with the 18 dexterity slipped on the ice. Alright.
May the dice roll in my favor.
Fine. Well, that wasn't nice. Throwing rocks at the guy laying on the ground.
Free at last. No more chop. Chop. Chop.
They're all going toward Astarion too. Okay, so as always, we have the constantly prepared darkness spell here. Doesn't cost us any spell slots. It's just OP. Now Astarion's going to be able to stand up, and now he's attacking from advantage, right? He's not. Oh, because they're immune to being blinded. But he can still move around. And this is just testing. So I'm going through a lot to test this.
Ready or not?
Okay. So now I'm still not attacking with advantage. Okay, I have it here. Okay, so what I'm testing is the Justiciar Scimitar. When you attack with advantage, you have a chance of blinding your target. Now, I'm not using the Scimitar to attack. I'm using the Hellfire Hand crossbow to attack, but I have advantage on this attack. So what I'm interested is if this is going to blind the Intellect Devourer. They have blind sight, though, because they don't have eyes. I'm anxious to see if it makes a saving throw where it says immune to blinded, because if it does, that means it could possibly be blinded. Okay, so it didn't give me any mention of it. But I'm not entirely sure because they have blind sight if that works or not. If it would give me a notification.
Rook to queen 6. Never a dull moment. Another step forward.
Okay, so we'll have Shadowheart get rid of her darkness.
Alright, what now?
Most of the Intellect Devourers are going to have a Cerebellum, which you want to pick up because elixirs of psychic resistance are incredibly useful in the endgame. Being able to craft them is going to save you a substantial amount of money.
On my way.
Okay, you have the Morgue Cage key here.
Open up.
The moment comes. The absolute moves.
So this is Chop writing to the Absolute, or the Absolute. So please send teacher better dreams. He is grumpy, and when he's tired, he bounces the cart around a lot. We promise to all be quiet and good so he can sleep. So Chop was a fairly simple individual.
Not design, but death.
So here, I can't... I'll read the parchment after I pick it up. Okay, so nothing there. We're just going to go pick up a few more items.
I suppose a lake of blood counts as rustic in this Ilithid hell.
And we do have some more things over here, including some more mines. There's the butchered mine that's here.
What's next?
And then again, I'm just going to pick up a bunch of stuff because we are going to have some vendors in Act 3 that all of this stuff is being saved for.
Baldur's Gate will know my design. Our design.
Teacher's rules: ride in teacher's cart away from the soldiers, don't look the guide in the eyes, stay in the light. Okay, and then since we picked up the key,
Never wanted the easy path.
Can't afford to stay
we can
idle.
pick up the leather armor there. We can go unlock the cage.
We are free! Thank you, friend. But perils remain, near and far. Better to stay together. You and us, we will remain with you. Call us, and we will be at your side.
Okay, so we received an item to be able to summon us. And that gives you us. He's now back. Us is actually a very impressive follower to have. The synaptic discharge is a lot of damage. 3d8 plus 2. The devour or the claws attack is 2d8 plus 2. So almost every time, unless they're resistant to psychic damage, synaptic discharge is a way to go. It's also a ranged attack roll. Devour intellect is where things can get really interesting. You consume a creature's mind. If its intelligence is below 4, it takes damage and is stunned. Otherwise, its intelligence is reduced by 3. So, it's an intelligence save, so it's hard to land on certain enemies. But if you can land this enough, remember that reducing any enemy's ability score, any of their ability scores to 0 outright kills them. So in this case, you can combine this with other spells and abilities to lower enemies, to lower their intelligence to a certain level, and then either cause them to take a bunch of damage and be stunned, or to use this to reduce their intelligence even further and get them to a point where you just need to cast a single spell or ability to reduce that intelligence score to 0 and can outright kill them.
Have a lot on my mind.
So
Well,
us is actually pretty good. Us has 55 hit points, and I haven't actually done it because I wasn't going to go all the way back to the prologue. But in the prologue, if you passed the dexterity check to be able to make it more subservient, I believe what it does is it takes away some of Us's maximum hit points. I believe if you do not do that during the prologue, if you free him, but you don't make him more subservient, he shows up here and he has 75 hit points or something like that. Like I say, I could be wrong. I haven't experimented with it. It's been a long time since I read about it. But that is the impact that your choice in the prologue has all the way down here at the end of Act 2.
better not be cursed.
Of many hearts, one soul.
Okay, so this is... Okay, no, this is fine. So I wasn't actually expecting them to be hostile, but that's just because I normally walk in through this door in hiding, and now I'm not. I wanted to fight here at this door anyway. So this is why I normally come in this way. So I'm in here with a bunch of undead. Death Shepherd, greater zombies, and there are some winged horrors. And remember, with winged horrors, their claw attacks can paralyze you. However, winged horrors do not see in the darkness spell. Neither do zombies of any type. And neither does the Death Shepherd. So what we need to do right now, I don't think any of the winged horrors are able to reach me to get an attack off. And then we're going to get to... Yeah, nobody can reach me at this point. So I'm going to stay here in this location. I'm just going to have Astarion kind of move up a little bit. Because I do want to try out the blind here. So if I move down to here, I want to use about half of my movement, a little bit more than half of my movement. Now I'm going to go into hiding.
Let's find some prey.
I'm attacking with advantage, so I should blind the greater zombie if the Justicier's Scimitar procs on ranged attacks. Okay, and I don't think it does. I don't think it's doing it. I'll keep trying it though. I am still attacking with advantage because of Assassinate, so I guess I didn't have to hide there. Yeah, I don't think that it's proccing on ranged attacks.
Be quick.
So if that's the case, after this is done, then I will remove this and replace it with the short sword of life stealing that I had previously. So dashing, that's good. This one on the left is the one I'm worried about. If he can fly and reach my paladin, this one I'm worried about. Yep. So he can fly. So he's going to attack somebody and missed. Good. Okay, so Gale, going to move him up. Not a whole lot, though. Let's see how far my cantrip can reach in here. Okay, so I can reach out here.
Nemesis.
Should knock some people prone. Provide an ice surface right here where everybody's walking. So 60% chance to hit. Yeah, 60% chances to hit on all of these.
Nothing important is ever easy.
Okay, and we're going to try and eliminate some of these winged horrors here. There's one. I'm not going to need to Divine Smite that. Death Shepherd's going to resurrect one. Just perfectly fine. Okay, now Shadowheart, as usual. I think that's fine for now. Should get just a bunch of dashes. Okay, so for Astarion here, I definitely want to get rid of the winged horror. Okay, again, Astarion just clearing things out here. Some flies, probably. Oh, they're going to stay in place and not enter into the darkness. Easy for me. So we're going to throw another cantrip out here and drop some ice right in the middle of all of this. Or not. That 70% there we didn't need. I'm going to leave us back here inside the darkness, though. Because us is immune to being blinded as well. And I do have a ranged attack here. Oh yeah, I can't use that ranged attack inside the darkness.
Still on my feet.
So let's... No, I think we're good without it. Let's just go ahead and get some more damage in here. I should be able to kill the greater zombie. Or not. Here go the rolls, chat. And again, not worried about all these ones that he's raising. I just really want them to all get within melee range here. And they are just clustering up nicely. Okay, Astarion. Oh, they have undead fortitude. Like, why is he still alive? Okay, so yeah, they're the blind procced on that. But it doesn't matter, because he's already blinded inside of here. So it would only really be of benefit if I could blind targets that are staying outside here. But since it doesn't appear I can do that, I'm not going to be using the Justiciar's Scimitar. Okay, so they're finally flying in. And these are what I was waiting for them to come in. Because, oh boy, things are clustered up very nicely. Okay, so his intelligence is 4. So for me, all I'm really interested in is just kind of knocking down some of the hit points on some of these enemies. And I'm not going to Divine Smite. 40, we'll go to this one. I think the Death Shepherd's going to start moving in now. Good. Keep coming. Okay, Shadowheart. Let's see how far this reaches. Okay, so it's going to get him. It's going to stop with these here. So there are 5 that are outside of it. Everybody else is inside of it. So I guess boom goes the dynamite, right? Sure. Oh. Hello. Okay, Astarion, let's go to work here. You know, since we're not going to use this anymore, it doesn't really need it on any of them because they've all been just beat up. That one maybe, but I can't reach him. And he tripped and fell too. Wow, just a whole lot of misses by Gale. Rolled a 2. It's not like these are difficult to hit, Gale.
I can't even catch my breath.
And I can't reach destination on him. He's glitched into the door, it seems. And I'm just being conscious of my action economy right now. That's the only thing I'm doing. Having him being able to follow up with that Undead Fortitude finish off with his bonus action is really, really nice. lost them both. Gale can't roll a successful attack roll to save his life.
Still breathing, despite everything.
Okay, now just the Death Shepherd left. Hey, he hit one. What do you know?
No choice but to keep going.
All right. So again, fighting in a choke point
Let's move.
with darkness can trivialize a lot of fights. Again, I'm being conscious of my action economy here, because there's a long way to go down here, and then I still have a fight at the end of this to be able to do. Now I'm going to try and make that fight substantially easier, but still don't want to be frivolous with my action economy here. So let's just do the searching here real quick. Okay, some of these are all stacked on top of each other, so it's going to be harder to search than others, but it doesn't really matter. There's not a whole lot here that is worth taking anyway. But keep in mind also that the play styles that I'm giving you here are things that are going to help you out if you decide to play this on different difficulty levels.
The moment comes.
I would definitely have to be playing this way on honor mode. It makes things a lot safer if you're playing it this way on tactician mode. So things can get fairly hairy unless you're planning ahead with your positioning and your action economy. So you may think that this is fairly easy for some of these things, but again, I've got multiple playthroughs going and I have to play this way. And if I'm playing this way now, it helps you better prepare all of you for different playthroughs that y'all may want to do as well. Okay, so we have a couple of things in here. We have this area over here, which you can see, it looks like it has some mine jars in it. We're going to save that for a second.
Baldur's Gate will know my desire.
And we're going to go this way and jump across here. Okay, now we can look around the outside of this. You see that there's a flesh rot door over here. Lockpicking is impossible. And you have this console here in the middle.
The console bursts into life. A mind touches your own. Alien and full of desperate need, but fragmented too. It is incomplete. It yearns to connect, but needs you to guide the process, linking each part of your mind to its like.
Okay, now here you have a puzzle. Okay, basically it wants you, there's memory, reason, speech, and emotion. They all have their own shapes. So like emotion, you can see kind of has the horns, and there's emotion there. There's speech, there's reason, and there's memory. The goal here is that this puzzle unlocks the door. You need to connect all four of these to their similar shapes on the other side without crossing through the same nodes. They all have to have their own independent pathway through this. And one of the easiest ways to start this off is to look at the ways that you are limited to going. Meaning like emotion here, if I click on it, I can only go to one node. If I was looking at reason, I could go to 4 nodes off of this, and you don't know which one it is. So start with the ones where you can only go one direction. Now from here, I can go to 4 nodes or back to speech. So instead, what I want to do is look at going a different way here. And for that, I can now look at other ways where I now only have one way to go. Because now memory can't go here because emotion's there, so it can only go here. So it's going to go here, and that means it can only go to here. Now from there, it's got a couple of different ways. It's got choices it can go, so I'm going to hold off on that one and start looking at the others. So speech, I can go 2 different ways. And reason, I can go here. One of these 2 could be for speech and one for reason. It can also be this node here, which I can't get to from any other. That is incorrect, because I could get to it from emotion going up to here. So now you start looking at your pathways on the back end. So here memory needs to get way over here. And that means it can go through this node or this node. Or it can go through this node and this node. So I'm going to go from memory to here, to here, and to here. And that connects to memory. Now, I don't know if that's right or not. It's been so long since I've done this, I honestly can't remember. So we're going to keep playing with it and see if we can get these connected up. So reason is here. That's probably going to be around here on the top. Speech is over here. Yeah, so let's go reason, and we'll take it here, 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 here. Okay, and then we will look at emotion. Whoops, clicked that wrong. So here, then here. Emotion is down here. Okay.
Welcome.
And now last is speech, which needs to get over here.
Should do it.
And there you go.
Time to see what's back there.
I believe there are multiple ways to solve this. So I don't look up a guide to do it. It's fairly straightforward while you're doing it. Just takes a bit to work it out. And you can always go backward. You can click on a node and then click on it again and it will deselect it from its list. So, but if you want to go look up a guide, feel free. The reason you do it is for two things. One, Waking Mind is in here. You're going to need Waking Mind here in a second, and the Blade of Oppressed Souls is in here. The Circlet of Mental Anguish has Psychic Leech. So whenever an enemy fails one of the spellcasting saving throws against one of your spells, you regain, or cantrips, you regain 1d4 hit points. Can be situationally okay. I'm going to take a look at it and see if there's anything that it would be more useful on anybody for. The Brain Drain Gloves, when you deal psychic damage, you also inflict mental fatigue for 2 turns. Mental fatigue is one of those stacking things where, just like encrusted with frost and heat and reverberation and those sort of things, once you get to a certain point, you deal additional psychic damage. This is great for your monk class, in that you're going to get a bunch of different attacks. Those attacks can also inflict psychic damage, and every attack you land, they're going to have a +1 penalty, or a -1 penalty to wisdom, intelligence, and charisma saving throws for every turn remaining. So you can really stack up negative modifiers on those spellcasting saving throws, and that will allow you to land things like Banish, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, all of that sort of stuff that's going to seriously hold monster, which is going to seriously debilitate an enemy a lot easier. So these can be extraordinarily useful, especially for your monk class. And then the sword, the Blade of Oppressed Souls. So the Blade of Oppressed Souls is a longsword. It's a +1 longsword that by itself does psychic damage. It does the 1d4 psychic damage at the bottom. The +2 acid and the 1d4 I'm getting from items that I'm wearing. You have the Crowning Strike ability, which once per short rest, you can inflict Crown of Madness on your target for 3 turns. Crown of Madness is basically, it's going to attack whoever the nearest creature is, other than the spellcaster. It also does a flat +4 psychic damage. Now, the reason Crowning Strike shows all of those damage types is because it's taking the damage types from my Chargebound Warhammer and adding them to this. You would not have those normally. So it's not an increase in damage over my Chargebound Warhammer. But it is a sword that deals psychic damage. And if you're dealing psychic damage and you have the gloves also dealing psychic damage, then you can stack up psychic damage quite a bit. Okay, but we did pick up the Waking Mind, and that's what's really important in here. And why you want to do this before, I mean, you don't have to, but One of the reasons to do it before you go over to the other side. And we'll do a level up here in a little bit.
Here we go again.
Whoops. No. Okay, and now we're going to jump over here. Okay, you do have a couple of things to search over here. Nothing. And you get into here and you have two more minds, the willing mind and the true mind. Okay, you also have a chest over here in the corner.
Traps, please.
Which has crafting materials in it.
Well, good feelings never last, I suppose.
There's a prayer for forgiveness here, which basically gives you some more insight behind Balthazar's view of the other chosen. It's actually really interesting to go through and read. There's an eye patch here.
An eye patch? I wonder who it belongs to.
It belongs to Mole. Our journal just updated. And you have Balthazar's notes here, which again is giving his insights on Gortash. And here it says, with this device, we no longer need psionic power to access the memories contained within, only to insert the subject and speak to it directly. We do have some rune slates here, which basically talk to you about the Elder Brain.
Seems I can understand Ilithid script. Thank you, Tom.
Okay, and a flash of nautiloids in a great void waiting, which is foreshadowing. And then you have the resonance stone sitting here on the table. Okay, now when you get within range of the resonance stone, you're going to see this steeped in bliss condition pop up. So you have advantage on physical checks and disadvantage on mental saving throws. So this can be useful for a bunch of physical things, but you have to be aware that you're now seriously susceptible to mental spells. Hold person and that sort of stuff are now a lot harder to avoid. You are also vulnerable to psychic damage. Now, this item you can transport around with you, and one of the more interesting uses I've seen for this is for somebody to throw it on the to drop it on the ground and then throw it into a group of enemies to make them vulnerable to psychic damage, and then casting a psychic damage AoE spell or something like that onto all of them to double their damage. You can also cast it or throw it like right out in front of your darkness spell so that you're far enough away that you're not near enough to it to get steeped in bliss, but other enemies approaching you are. And that way they can have the disadvantage, but you don't. It can be very, very useful in certain situations. I do not want to have it on me while I go through this, though. And now here you have a slacked skinned head, and you have a large cook pot here. I never noticed that. And you have a mind archive interface. This is going to ask you to insert an item, and you're going to insert the minds that you have. You have a total of 6 of them. We're going to start with the dark mind here, and then talk to the head.
There's another what's more loving than a brother. Yes, a stand-up, homely, gentle sort of guy.
Okay. So basically, whatever mind you insert in here, you're going to be able to talk to it through the head. That was a little disturbing, hence why it's called the Dark Mind. And once I've used it, I'm going to send it to camp. No. Yes.
They're in my head. They're in my head! They're in yours too. It won't be long now until we're changed. Am I dead? I don't want to die, but I don't want to live. Not like this.
Okay. So nothing from the slave mind.
Shh. This place listens. It knows. If we're going to escape, we have to be smart. Right. You get it. I've been watching, learning. This place is alive. A big thinking thing. And it needs our flesh to grow. I've seen them put corpses in the walls and they just melt away. So we've got to trick it, see? Make it think we're part of it. That's why the door's only open for... Wait. How did you get in here?
Away, slave! They might have taken your mind, but they won't have mine!
Okay, so nothing from the butchered mind.
Every day he comes. Every day for 3 days to ask me how I feel. I want to tell, but I am confused. Which day is it? The first, yes. 5 days since he put that thing in my eye, but the first day he came to visit. He says I am the last, that the other subjects have all changed. Eye hurts, head hurts, but he says I am past the worst of it, that I won't change like the others. He's given me a place of honor, so he can repeat his miracle and a name. True Soul. She whispers in my mind. She sings, praise the Absolute. Separate cells. I never saw them, but when they changed...
My head! I can feel them in my head!
We are his pets. His plan. Lord Gortash.
Okay, so you learned a little bit about what's been happening here, and that Gortash is the one that has been creating the true souls by harvesting these larvae and seeing how people react to them, basically.
Pardon? Wouldn't do to phlegm all over Lord Gortash during my first performance, would it?
Acoustics are a little off in here. Which is... where, exactly?
Right. A jester, are you?
Ah, you must be vying for the Lord's patronage too. He heard me singing in Beggar's Rest. Said he needed someone to give voice to lost knowledge. A little over my head, being honest, but the Lord has gold. I trust he knows his business. Now, I'd best warm up.
Truly? And my ma said the singing would come to naught. Oh, thank you, thank you.
Okay, so that's the willing mind, and last is the waking mind, the one that we just picked up.
Fine bones, sharp jaw, some variety of elf. Pretty enough for a flesh prison, if not the noble Gethzerai features I was born with. I'd guess you're no willing guest of the Gate either. Perhaps we might aid one another.
So we failed a history check where you would learn more about the Githzerai. They're basically an offshoot of the Gith that are like warrior monks, so to speak.
Oh, for a set of hands to slap your face! The Yankee lost their way the moment Gith threw down the Gate Empire. Only we, Zerai, continue the war to end the Gate forever. Only we fight them on their own battlefield, the Mind. A Githzerai's mind is not so easily cracked. Our discipline was the very reason we were attacked. My order taught a psionic technique much feared by the Gate. They destroyed us for it, and kept me as a trophy. I never broke, but I've spent all these centuries awake, aware. So here is my offer. Use your tadpole, erase me, and I will pass my technique on to you.
You feel the oncoming void tug at the back of your mind and the edge of your soul. Your patron bids you caution before agreeing to this pact. The monk isn't telling you everything.
Hey, because of my warlock patronage here, you get this extra dialogue option.
All right, the Gate did not find my monastery. I led them there. They promised me immortality, and they gave it. I have been their rotting trophy for centuries.
As her agitation swells, so does her latent psionic power. To your tadpole, that guilt and terror are almost fragrant. You realize the Ilithids locked her away not as a trophy, but as a fine vintage.
Please, touch my mind and purge it. The moment you do, my knowledge will be yours.
Okay, so you have two options here. So you want to purge her mind, and you can do this, you can leave now and do it with whoever you want. The reward for purging her mind is that you're going to get the Githzerai mind barrier, and that basically gives you advantage on intelligence saving throws. Okay, which again can be very, very useful against all sorts of attack spells from mind flayers. So I'm going to reach out and purge her mind, and I'm going to do it with my paladin here.
The awareness that floods you is nothing like the tadpole. It is tentative and tinged with the loneliness of eons. It fades beneath your touch, but you feel something left behind. A fragment.
It is only knowledge yet, without comprehension. But when you use it, you will see. And I see.
Okay, and that's the waking mind. Now, the thing that's interesting about the waking mind, other than the fact that we got what we did from it there, is if you remember in early access, the waking mind was actually in the prologue. It was going to be one of those things that was you found with the other two mines, the Slave Mind and the Dark Mind, on the Nautiloid in the prologue. At some point during full release, they changed it. So it now showed up here, and I think that's probably because a lot of people didn't save those things or didn't do anything with them and left them there on the ship, and they would get to this point and go, I left it on the Nautiloid. Well, if you had left them all on the Nautiloid, the two that you had left there in full version you'd just be missing out on dialogue. But you'd have been missing out on the Githzerai Mind Barrier if the Waking Mind was still there. So in full version, they moved it to be here inside this area so that more people would be able to get it and not miss out on it. Okay, so here coming out of this room, both of these pathways are going to lead us into this same area here. We have a quest marker over here for Ketheric Thorm. We also have one over here to rescue Zariel's asset from Moonrise Towers. Okay, so we're going to head out north. Oh, I guess we can do our level up now. Okay, so this is level 10 for me. If we level up our Paladin again, we now get extra attack. So we have our extra attack from our packed weapon. Now we have a stacking extra attack that goes along with that. Now, this extra attack and the extra attack from Deepened Pact do not stack in honor mode. So be aware of that. If that's the way, if you're playing honor mode and you're trying to do this, it's not going to work. They are not going to stack. The stacking is an unintentional benefit that was not coded in tabletop. They would not stack. So in honor mode, they do not stack as well. But now we're going to gain 3 main hand attacks per round. So we have our base one, this extra attack, and the one from our deepened attack with our packed weapon. Okay, we're also going to unlock another level 1 and level 2 spell slots. And because of that level 2 unlock, we now have access to some level 2 spells. We also get 2 oath spells. We get Hold Person and Misty Step as part of this. So I'm going to remove Compel Duel and go with Branding Smite here. That should get me Searing, Branding, Wrathful, and Thunderous. So now I'm able to inflict different damage types and different conditions with my smites. So for Shadowheart at level 10, we're going to keep her as a cleric. We get Divine Intervention here. This is a class action that can only be used once in your adventure, meaning your playthrough, you get to use it one time. We're actually going to keep this a little secret. We're going to talk about this more later because there is a point where we're probably going to want to use it. But let's just say for honor mode, this is something you definitely want to have available to you. Okay? Now for cantrips, thaumaturgy, I guess, is okay. Either one of these or 6 of one, half dozen the other. But being able to gain advantage on performance checks or intimidation could be nice. So for here, I don't think there's anything else. Oh, it added... No, I want greater restoration in there. Okay, yeah, so these are all the same ones, and I'm still good with those. She does look really cool in that getup. Okay, so at level 10 here, you have a choice on what you want to go. So you're going to, at Ranger level 6, you're going to gain your favored enemy, another favored enemy. So we already have Bounty Hunter, but you could add on another one in here. And these, for the most part, are fairly meh. Unless you want to add in resistance to another type of cold damage. If we add in our level 5 of Ranger, we're going to get Uncanny Dodge. And this is what we're going to do here at level 10 for him. We're going to take Uncanny Dodge. When an attack hits you, you only take half the usual damage. It's like passing a dexterity saving throw on an AoE damage spell, except you're doing it on every melee attack that hits you. We are not going to... This is going to be our last rogue level, more than likely for Astarion, but we'll take a look at it when we get to our level 11 level up and see if we want to keep it. Okay, so for Gale at level 10, the reason that we took our bump in Cleric was just to get us the Wrathful, to be able to do full damage with our elemental spells. So now we're going to go back and level up Wizard for the remainder of the playthrough here. So this is going to gain us a level 1 or level 4 spell slot. We're also going to get Projected Ward. When a nearby ally takes damage and you have an active arcane ward, you can sacrifice your ward to reduce the damage they take. Now remember, Gale always has an arcane ward up. So now I can use that ward to have the damage that goes out to any other nearby ally, and since we're mostly going to be fighting in darkness, my allies are going to be near me all the time anyway. So this allows me to utilize my arcane ward for everybody else in my party. So we're also going to gain 2 spells here, and for the spells that we're really dealing with, we need to be focused again on lightning and or hold-based spells here because of how we're outfitting our gear. So Lightning Bolt is an automatic choice for us. We're going to start utilizing Wetness a lot more once we get into Act 3. We just simply don't have a need. Like I say, at this point, the fights aren't really all that difficult. But we'll be utilizing Wetness to enhance both our cold and lightning damage. So having a long-range damage multiple people at the same time type of lightning-based spell is going to be incredibly useful for us. As far as the others, Blink is actually very funny here in the game, but it's not what we're going to be focused on for him. We're also going to take Sleet Storm here, but I think instead, that's the way that I built my Gale in my personal playthrough, but I think I want to take Knock, actually, now that I think about it. Gale here doesn't have a whole lot of need for more concentration spells. And I think I want to have access to Knock more often. I do have Astarion in the party, though. I'm debating, chat. Give me a minute. I think I'll take invisibility instead. So, from my prepared spells, I'm going to get rid of Grease. I'm keeping Shield. I'm going to add in Lightning Bolt. I'm going to probably get rid of Witch Bolt here, so I can take Haste in its place. And then probably get rid of Find Familiar, and I'll put Darkness in its place, just to give me one more person to be able to cast it. Even though I don't think I'll ever be really doing it. Actually, I won't. I'll put invisibility in its place. Okay, so now again, with my Arcane Ward up.
I applaud your taste.
Still here. I'm going to be able to decrease damage to everybody else. Okay, so again, extraordinarily useful going forward.
Light on my feet.
So going through this door, we find more Intellect of Hours. And again, we get to a break in the corridor. So we're going to head up here on the north side first, because this is the way that leads us toward Ketheric. So we're going to head off to the left here.
Descend. Prepare.
Okay, and this is where we came in originally. Okay, and now you get into the Tadpoling Center.
Mind flayers and civilians, side by side.
Okay.
This must be where they infect and transform those they kidnap.
Alright, and you see we have Mind Flayer pods over here. Some of them are green, some of them are red. The ones that are green have something in them. So there's a Mind Flayer in this one. There's what looks like a Flaming Fist in this one. And there's another Mind Flayer in that one. And another Flaming Fist in this one. Then on this side, so that's 2 Mind Flayers. Here's a third Mind Flayer. And that is Zevlor. And then down here at the end is another Mind Flayer. Okay, so when you release one of these, you're going to release... well, when you release this here, you will release all of them. And you will get into a fight in which you will have 4 Mind Flayers to contend with. But you will also have 3 allies. 2 Flaming Fist and Zevlor, who is a very hard-hitting paladin, as well. So you can also, and it's been a while since I've looked at these, actually. Actually, let's not do it yet. Let's go do something else because I forgot before I came in here. It doesn't matter. I'm not utilizing it anyway. You want to come down here with Will. And I came down here without him. So we're going to go here into this other room. And you see we have some more Mind Flayer pods. And that looks like Mizora in that one. Okay, and this pathway here will lead you out and around and get you into this room, which we're going to be exploring next.
Down. Brine pools, but empty of tadpoles. Unusual. Harvesting all the larvae indicates they are getting ready for something big.
Okay, so you have a book, Suspended Ceramorphosis here, which talks about these being enhanced tadpoles that you can basically transform somebody remotely whenever you want after you've infected them. Now we are going to, and I can't remember what check this is.
My faith will guide me.
I think it's investigation.
And you, my many friends.
Which means I'm gonna have Gale do it.
You have my attention. Onward.
You can go up here and you can click on this brine pool here. Okay, so it's perception.
There were never any tadpoles here. Thought as much.
Okay, and I think you only get one chance at that. Thought it was investigation.
I must keep going.
There's a parasite nearby.
Okay.
You should take a closer look.
So it did. So you don't get only one shot. You can increase it. You can test it with anybody. It increased my number of tadpoles by 1 by searching. By passing the perception check on the brine pool.
But then where are the tadpoles?
It says there's a tadpole nearby, you have to search for it, you don't.
Never a dull moment. A pod? Is that Mizora inside?
By Grazit's cock, it's about time you came! Why, perish the thought. Every word was nothing less than true. Now, enough sniffing around and get me out of this thing.
Do it, and I'll let Will off his leash. A devil always keeps her promises.
Your eyes turn to the control panel next to the pod. It has 2 devices marked with Ilithid symbols. The controls are open to your tadpole's command, to your authority. You can make no sense of the symbol. You recognize the marking from the Nautiloid, an Ilithid symbol meaning unleash.
Good work. I'd give you a gold star, but I'm fresh out. As for the pact... Clause Z, Section 13. If the Soulbinder consents to separation, she will release the Soul Bearer from all obligation within 6 months.
Oh, 6 months is a trifle. You barely read through a single bookcase in Candlekeep in such a time.
Ignorant thing. It's always the terms and conditions that get you. Not going to happen, but I do like your spunk. Right. I'm out of here. I need a long bath. I'll leave you to your very serious business. But don't you fret. If you survive this place, I'll find you. The pup will be needing me. Count on it. Oh, and ask Will how we met. I've loosened his tongue. It's real cracker of a tale. Ta-ta.
Okay, now because Will is not here, I don't think I'm going to get the option to talk to her again and convince her of something. If Will's in your party, during that dialogue, you're going to get an option to be able to have her give you something as a reward. And you can persuade her to do it, and she will give you the Infernal Rapier, which is, again, a very rare item to get. And Will has always loved rapiers for whatever thing, but it's a really good rapier to have. Now I don't think I'm going to get it. I don't know if talking to Will in camp is going to summon Mizora, and we'll get a chance to talk to her and get it then. I don't know. Again, I've always brought Will along with me on this encounter, and I just simply forgot to do it this time. So be sure to bring Will with you to make sure that you have the opportunity to get the Infernal Rapier. Okay, so now you end up in something called the Barracks, and you can see there's a group of people over here. We're going to... Yeah, we're not, because of the intellect devourer roaming around. Let's...
We depart.
Because as soon as I go in here, they're going to start the conversation. Where's us at? So us got stuck way back here because it can't make the jump. Yes, it can. Oh boy, okay. Will take a minute for us to get caught up to us. Jeez. Oh, is he still in hiding? Oh, he's still in hiding. That's why he didn't make the jump. So that might have been my fault. So I won't blame us. Okay, but here I actually do want to put him in hiding so that he does not follow
Still alive, so that's progress.
The moment comes.
Okay, you shouldn't be following me, us.
General Thorm was attacked. The order to evacuate given. You should not be here. I conclude you are one of the attackers.
Okay, so you have a deception option here. However, this fight really isn't all that difficult either. So I'm going to go ahead and attack here. Now, I'm probably not going to do very well on advantage on this.
You will beg forgiveness long before we grant
Okay, and she casts this incubate death spell, which is basically in one turn the skeletal invoker is going to explode and an undead is going to pop out of it. So let's go ahead and get some bashes in on Harry Henry here. Okay, and now you see we still have a third attack here. Okay, and now I'm going to retreat back. And I'm going to watch this detection cone and see how far down the intellect devourer comes. So it comes down to somewhere around here. So I'm going to go into height.
Step softly.
Make my way out here.
Not design.
And again, do what we normally do to prep for this. And I'm going to throw down a darkness here.
What now? Time for discretion. Stay low.
Ready and willing. Bother. Let's explore.
And I'm going to leave us back there for now.
Survival is all that matters.
Okay, so now the rest of Astarion's turn here.
Hungry for the slaughter.
Ooh, that really hit hard. That was his offhand attack that landed for 27 damage, and the sneak attack was 6d6 for 26. That's just harsh. That's almost unfair.
Gone with the weave.
So Gale doesn't have anything left on his turn, and for Shadowheart,
Not even the worms will want your carcass once I'm done with you.
Picked the wrong fight, friend.
Let's turn someone inside out.
Let's end this.
Okay, so she's gonna wait there until the fire goes out, I believe.
No gloom, all doom.
It should be this turn. I have plenty of time here before darkness runs out. And it's free. Okay, so she's just gonna wait in there. So we'll go in with Astarion. That's half his movement. Can I get a ranged attack there? I can. I rolled a 32. And now I can move him right back where he was.
Another fight. Let's go.
Let's have some fun. Quickly.
Normally she doesn't get stuck up here. But again, I'm not going to argue with her wanting to commit suicide by doing so.
Let's move.
Mortals be.
There's blood in the air. A better position.
And if I hit all of these, I should be able to kill her here. Finish it with a crit? Sure, why not?
Is that blood? No, never mind.
Okay, so in here there's going to be a bunch of things you can pick up. Shadowheart's still fairly unburdened.
Might find something useful.
Okay, you have the Flail of Myrkul here, which is basically a flail with tenacity that does additional necrotic damage. Does 1d4 necrotic damage. Okay, you're going to pick up multiple ones of that. Oh, I forgot the close mind in here.
Baldur's Gate will know my design. Our design.
So, Kretha, note about Cressa here, who we just killed.
Better fetch that.
The closed mind doesn't give you
Have to keep pushing.
anything.
We will take the city.
When you put it in the mind reader. Another Flail of Myrkul here. We're going to search all the rooms first. Harlequin, white and black, that's always nice. That always looks cool. This is his journal. Basically, this entire group has been together since the beginning. Don't think there's anything in here. There's not. I think these are Cressa's chambers. Yeah, Cressa's chambers.
Chosen are my heart, and you my many hands.
Okay, so this is talking about the experiments that they've done on people, at turning them into mind flayers. So Cressa has been part of this whole thing. She's obviously not a nice person. She deserved everything that she's got. So Balthazar was shipping bodies down here for them to experiment on. This is what the winged horrors were talking about, where Balthazar was shipping all the best bodies down underneath the Moonrise Towers. And this is where they've been going to basically make thralls and do experiments on. Potion of gaseous form. Interesting. And this is where we came in.
My chosen gather below.
So there's a chest in here. Superior healing potion, that's good. And then we can search Cressa. Cressa has the Myrkulite Scourge, which deals 1d6. Actually, I take that back. The Myrkul's flails do not deal necrotic damage. I'm doing that because of the stuff that I'm wearing. This, the Myrkulite Scourge, deals 1d6 necrotic damage. Now, when you compare this...
We depart.
Can't give up now.
...to the Charge-Bound Warhammer, it's 6 of one, half dozen the other. They both are going to deal 1d8 bludgeoning. The Warhammer would deal 1d10 if I wasn't using it with a shield. But since I am, it's dealing 1d8. So it would be dealing 1d8. Once I bind it as my pact weapon, I would gain the additional +5 for my charisma bonus going to it. So it would be doing the exact same damage as this. The 2d, or the +2 acid, the 1d4 fire are from my items. The 1d4 cold is from the Drake Throat Glaive. The only difference is whether I want to deal 1d6 lightning or 1d6 necrotic. So this is exactly the same with one difference in that the Myrkulite Scourge is a +1 to hit, whereas the Charge-Bound Warhammer, well, actually also is a +1 to hit once it's bound. So I'm gaining +2 to hit out of the Charge-Bound Warhammer because it's a +1 weapon, and then I'm adding favored weapon to it. So the Myrkulite Scourge would be 1 damage less, but it would be a completely different damage type. You don't find 1d6 bonus damage on weapons very often. Normally it's 1d4. So if you find something that's resistant or immune to lightning damage, you could swap it out for the Myrkulite Scourge before the combat, make it your pact weapon, and gain necrotic damage instead. So it's something good to keep around. We already have one that we picked up from upstairs, so we don't need two. And we picked it up in the fight with at the rooftop with Ketheric. So a bunch of severed legs and that sort of stuff up here. Nothing else to see in this location, I don't believe. No, there's not. And now, don't forget we have this room here to go back to. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go back to the west. And go back into the room that had all of the Mind Flayer pods in it. So like I say, with this you're going to have multiple Mind Flayers, come out, but you're also going to have some help through this fight. But this fight can get really hairy, and on honor mode it can get even worse. So what we want to do is, we've got one Mind Flayer here and Zevlor and another Mind Flayer here, and then a Mind Flayer at this end and a Mind Flayer here. So these 4 locations, you're going to have a Mind Flayer pop out. Now, the Mind Flayers are extraordinarily mobile. They can fly around. So, and when they do that, they're not going to invoke an opportunity attack when they, well, actually, yes, they will when they do it. So I want to be able to position people strategically to be able to help out. Now, Zevlor is the person that we definitely want to survive at all costs. The 2 Flaming Fist on this side, it's nice if they survive, but they don't have to. So I'm going to put my Paladin over here next to this Mind Flayer. There's not going to be a whole lot of opportunity to use darkness to fight in here. 1, because the enemies aren't going to be grouped up. 2, because your allies don't respect your wishes on where you want to fight. And 3, the Mind Flayers can fly around all over the place. So it's not going to be a whole lot of that working. And to that end, I'm going to put the Sword of Life Stealing back on. And I'm going to move Astarion over here.
Wits and blades, always sharp.
So for Shadowheart, the Mind Flayers are here and here. So I'm just going to group up.
Onward in her name.
Or I'm going to put Shadowheart here, so she can deal with either one of them. And Gale I'm going to leave in the middle for now. I'm going to trigger this with my Paladin here at this corner.
Your tadpole forms a telepathic connection with the device, and a chorus of static energy fills your mind. Every Mind Flayer in the room calls out hungrily from its pod, seeking release and sustenance. But there are others in the pods, those not yet infected, not yet Ilithid, terrified, desperate to escape. The device is open to your tadpole's command, to your authority.
Okay. And you're going to have varying amounts of intellect devourers join this fight as well. And more of them as they wander around out here. Like this one here. They can possibly join into this fight as well. But it's really these 4 Mind Flayers that are the massive threats here. Okay? So we're going to have one Mind Flayer be able to go before anybody else, and it's this one over here, which again I'm not too worried about. He's probably going to go after Gale. Okay, so let's get this started with Astarion here. Okay, that was a good outcome. That means that I've only got one Mind Flayer right now going after Zevlor. Dash is fine, I won't be able to attack afterward. Dashes are good. Now let's see what this Mind Flayer does. Probably going to go after Gale if I had to guess. Okay, no, he went Tentacle Whip. That's perfectly fine. So now he's going to move out of reach, so I'm going to get my opportunity attack. Because he's going to fly or levitate. Okay, and now here. Don't want to cause any problems with that one, but this one I probably can. Actually, I would like to be able to do it, but I don't know what's going to happen with the diameter of the cold. So let's just drop more damage on this one here. Yeah, because see, I would love to have been able to knock this Mind Flayer down. So then I would have advantage on all the attacks against it. But the ice surface may have been wide enough to knock my Paladin down as well.
Sometimes the only way out.
So now here, we're going to burst this Mind Flayer down as much as we possibly can in this turn. So we are going to drop a Divine Smite. Perfect. That kills him flat out. Outstanding. I'm going to provoke the attack of opportunity here.
Swift as my feet can carry me.
I want to get closer to this Mind Flayer. Okay, so us can just go after his buddy here. Okay, disadvantage because it's too close. Missed a 65%er. And that's gonna hurt. Okay, going after Gale. Missed. Okay, for Shadowheart, I'm going to have advantage on this attack here. Because I'm going to have Astarion attack next turn. And Astarion's over here already. So let's try and get some more burst damage on this Mind Flayer. Okay, good. This one's going to come running in. Don't really care. Okay, so Astarion, what do we have here? 20? I should be able to take all of that out here. Oh, missed an 85%er. And missed us. Hey, well, Astarion, if you take damage from this Mind Flayer, it's entirely your fault. Hey, Lord Henry, welcome. I'm not going to use it yet. Yeah. Entirely deserved that. Oh, it didn't land on you, it landed on everybody else. Horrible. Just horrible. Okay, now I'm gonna have to get in here.
At the ready.
Oh, that was not the time to roll a 1. Alright, Astarion, are you going to be able to redeem yourself here? Thank you.
Unleash me. Knight to King 5.
I didn't think I was going to make it. Thank you. I owe you an explanation. Much more than that. But first, please, the others, the ambush. Tell me they survived? You've heard some of it, I'm sure. That I froze, or broke, or some other lie that is kinder than the truth. We were ambushed by cultists, yes. And then I heard her, their false god, whispering promises in my mind. I would be a paladin again, with a god's purpose, a god's power. Everything I needed to protect my people. And all the while, the cult tortured them. They fought and ran and died around me, while I imagined myself their savior. By the time I regained my senses, it was too late. I did not just surrender to the Absolute. For a moment, I welcomed it. It would be nice to think so, but whatever these monsters twist us into, I believe it begins in us. I won't make excuses. I can't make amends. But I know something of what you came to do. I want to help, if you'll let me. Ketheric is below. He thinks you're no longer a menace. Descend and show him how wrong he is. If there are any more survivors to be found, I'll find them and lead them out of this place. They have you. Go, my friend. Please, let me do this much.
Okay, and that completes the Find Zevlor quest. Right here. So that's knocked off the list. Find Mole. That triggered an advancement when we picked up Mole's eye patch. Rescue the Grand Duke is just part of this whole thing, and that's why both of these are down here. Okay, so going to take a short rest here.
Time to see what new horrors waiting for us.
No one back home will ever believe this.
Crafting materials.
How much farther can I go?
And again, all of these cerebellums are incredibly important to take. And that actually went very, very well. The Paladin getting its third attack is a huge jump in combat power. And we're going to see that coming up here in a few minutes. So if you can get yourself to level 10 before you go into this next fight, yeah. We'll just leave it at that. So now we're going to head south and backtrack out this way.
Of many hearts, one.
Because again, we're in a red map, so we can't fast travel out of here. We can't long rest in here. Okay, and this passage here leads you back into the barracks room.
A whole fleet of nautiloids. How many true souls have passed through this place?
Okay, the Fresh Mind is up here. Again, you're just going to learn more backstory. You're not going to get any more buffs or bonuses out of any of the other minds that are here. And if you want more explosives, there are Nodloid tanks laying around here. Okay, now right here is a restoration pod. This restoration pod works just like the pods that you saw during the prologue. And that right now we're down one level 5 spell slot.
I'll give it a try.
It gives you a long rest. So you do not have to limit your spell economy or your action economy down here like I did. You're always going to have access to a long rest. And this is repeatable, so you can come back here and do it at any time you want before you go down, because this is your final encounter here.
Swift as my feet can carry me.
Okay, and we're going to hide here. Okay, we're not going to hide. We're going to hide on the way down.
Is anyone else's tadpole squirming around a lot more than usual?
It's almost like it's excited by something, drawn to it.
Okay, so rejuvenating miasma goes away. So you now need a corpse to be able to raise dead.
These boots have seen everything.
Hey, Sublight, welcome. We're about to get into the final encounter here, and you're going to get an autosave dropped.
Let's see what this does.
Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, so it did not... It put me into conversation, but did not trigger the cutscene. Can't move. Can't interact with anything. So we're going to reload the autosave. Haven't had that ever happen before. I'm anxious to see if I can repeat it, though. By being in hiding. I think it might be because I'm in hiding here. But let me see if I can repeat it.
Seems so simple enough.
Yes. So this is a repeatable bug here. You cannot enter into this while you are in hiding. So I will report that on the forums. That could be debilitating, though. Actually, I want to try this.
Should mind my step.
Yeah. Nope. If anybody's in hiding, this is not going to trigger. That's interesting. Okay, so we'll take everybody out of hiding.
Let's see.
It's broken. No, this did not happen in any of my playthroughs. I wonder if it's because for some reason Gale is way back here? No, this is entirely broken. I've never encountered this before. Gale is stuck.
We're a long way from Waterdeep.
Gale is broke.
Should have wished to live in more interesting times.
Okay, maybe that was it. Because Gale was stuck. He could not advance. He was stuck on this corner for some reason. Nope. Where's us? Right there. I hope this thing isn't broke.
Seek and you shall find me.
Have a lot on my mind, and, well,
That was weird. Let's take everybody back upstairs. So everybody's here. Let's just head back upstairs and we'll come back down. See if we're able to, the entire party's able to move. Once we get up here. I'm also going to dismiss us. The way I plan on doing this. So everybody can move. So that's good.
What path lies before me?
Just make sure everybody can still move. Yeah, everybody's still able to move. So we'll go down again. You can't leave and come back. I can restart the game. I have a red border here. I can't fast travel out of here. If I go to my map, I can't fast travel. Once you come down here, you are down here for the duration. So everybody's moving, nobody's in hiding. Nope. It is broken. So I'm gonna do a restart here of the game. So things are gonna go black for a second. So I should still be with you here on voice. Give me just a second to restart this. And we'll see if this works. Should be coming back. Okay, so let's see if this fixes anything. So I wanted to end today's live stream with this encounter. However, the
Wonder if the gods are watching me.
autosave may not have worked, and I may have to go back to the Necrotic laboratory save.
Elminster's not around, so might as well.
Yeah, see, it's weird how everybody jumped. You saw that there were multiple characters that jumped there.
A lot on my mind, and, well,
So I think something may have broken entirely. So
nothing.
No longer a
here we go.
background murmur. The presence in your mind builds to a roar.
We've found it. The Absolute is behind this door.
I'm gonna try and leave here.
No longer a background murmur. The presence in your mind builds to a roar.
We've found it. The Absolute is behind this door.
You said it was under control.
It isn't you I answer to, Gortash.
Oh, the general voice. Is this where we salute?
Salute, yes. With cleavers through his blood-starved flesh. How it crawls with failure, like flies on lick-wet carrion.
You forget yourself, Orin. I've played my part.
You've built an army for our masters, true enough. But what of the astral prison? A rogue true soul flaunting it under your nose all this time, and you ran from him.
Sure that they would follow and deliver it into my hands here. If you would cease these distractions.
The distractions have been yours, Ketheric. Perhaps we never should have dug your daughter up. So you haven't lost your edge, but you're still not as sharp as Orin, I wager.
His crypt breath sings to my sinews again, again. But he must lead the murder march to Baldur's grave.
If the weapon is truly in your grasp, Ketheric, might I suggest closing your fist? Orin and I can wait for you no longer. The plan proceeds. We're going to the city, and we expect you to follow. Army and the weapon in tow.
The Edict of Bane.
The Lash of Ball!
Testament of Myrkul!
An elder brain. One of the cruelest and most powerful creatures in existence. Enslaved by mere mortals.
Look at that crown. It radiates with power unlike anything I've ever seen. To have it. To hold. Oh, if only I could. But I can't. This is it. I must do as Mystra commands.
Okay, so you have an option here, which will end your game, but it is really cool to watch, where Gale can explode the Netherese bomb in his chest and destroy the Netherbrain. And it sacrifices your entire party, but the Sword Coast is saved. Hooray! But it does end your game right here. So we're not going to go through with that.
What choice do I have? More than just a goddess counseled my courage. Whole worlds hang in the balance. I do trust you. More than myself right now. Perhaps even more than Mystra. I have no desire to end your life, you know that. To end it? To struggle on? It is a grave choice you're making for us both. But if it must be so... very well. I'll stand down to stand by you.
There we are. It wouldn't do to fight in front of our guest. Behold, Duke Ravengard, the Absolute.
Who will preserve us?
You wag your word flap in vain, Alderling. Once the worm holds the whip, your shredded flesh will serve us.
Now, it's really time we were going. We will empty this place and begin the march.
You may catch up with the army once you've retrieved the weapon. And Ketheric, do try not to sulk. You're supposed to be the fearsome general come to conquer the city. And I am the hero who will save it.
It is time, faithful ones. March on Baldur's Gate. We go to prepare the way.
Okay, now, I don't know if you saw or paid attention to what was on the head of the Netherbrain. It was the Crown of Karsus, which is controlled by those 3 gems that you saw light up during their cutscene. And the Crown of Karsus is a legendary item in Forgotten Realms. But yes, it allows complete control over another entity of any power, including a god. So, incredibly powerful. Now, for us in this playthrough, since Aelin is not here, we have a fairly straightforward encounter ahead of us, in that we need to just kill Ketheric. Ketheric is damaged from our previous fight. Because Aelin is not here, he is not protected in any way. Normally, Aelin would be held captive back here, and he would be invulnerable until you release her. So your first order of business would be to release Aelin from captivity. He would become vulnerable. She would then join you in the fight with him. We also have his daughter Isabel, who is here. She's been taken by the shadow. Here. Okay. But she is a cleric, and with him we have some necromites up here. And we have some intellect devourers with 1 mind flayer over here. Now you can stay in hiding here and make your way around to a lot of different locations here. And that's kind of what we're going to do. If you look at what's happening here, Ketheric's kind of path of travel here kind of moves him around back here. And we're kind of at the limits of our detection cones. But what we're going to do is take Astarion down around this side. And again, all of this is free to do as long as you stay hidden. As soon as you come out of hiding, you're going to trigger the encounter cutscene. So once you get up to about here, you need to kind of start watching what the detection cones are doing. And kind of planning for them a little bit. Because Ketheric will turn and walk this way. And his detection cone will kind of expand a little bit. See, there it is. Now I'm going to head up here. Okay, now from up here, if you have somebody who has the Misty Step spell, they can Misty Step to here, which is a safe spot, except when the Intellect Devourers come this way. When they move around, you'll see this back area here clears up. You can Misty Step here. You can Misty Step over to here. You can also use Enhanced Leap to do the same thing. You can jump to here and then jump to here. However, you're going to be crossing this detection cone to jump here. And that's going to trigger a stealth check. So it's better to Misty Step here and then jump across here if you really want to. You can free Aelin, and as soon as you free her, that will start the fight. But at that point, she's already on your side, and he's vulnerable to damage. Since we don't have to do that, we're going to kind of start this fight off a little differently than that. And we're going to trigger this with the detection cones, hopefully giving us an opening over here a little bit. So we're going to wait for the intellect devourers to come back and for Ketheric to be facing down this way. Actually, we won't be able to do that because Isabel's always going to be there. That's right, she's always going to be facing that way. So I'm just going to start off by taking out as many of these necromites as I can. So I'll wait for Ketheric to walk back. Okay, now every...
As predicted. What is it, I wonder, that draws one toward death like a moth to light? You could have run away, absconded with the prism. The one thing that could prevent me from fulfilling my destiny. But the lure of one's destiny is irresistible, isn't it? Perhaps you hope to learn your place in history before you are erased from it. A bright flash of clarity before the snuffing out.
Okay, now Astarion is the one in this conversation.
Your place is to die so that I might finally live. Let us speak plainly. My Lord Myrkul gave me the one thing I desired, the one thing no other god could grant me. My daughter's life returned. Her heart beating once more. For that, he asked that I serve as his chosen. Join Orin and Gortash to grow the cult of the Absolute, and then take control of it. He's never had a more devoted follower. I have fought great wars before, in the service of other gods and other powers, but for Myrkul, I would condemn all of Faerun to death. You are all that stands between me and my destiny. And you have brought the prism here. I will kill you now. And then I will raise you as my servant.
Okay, now you have a persuasion option here. We are not going to take it on this playthrough. This persuasion option here is because you showed him mercy up at the top during the fight. And you'll see this play out later on with the Bard playthrough.
Say farewell, Isabel.
I'm grateful to you for bringing me home. I was a fool to resist. I know better now. Good luck in the City of Judgment. I wish you the best. Sincerely.
My lord, I offer you these souls so they may return as servants to your cause. Join the army of the dead, true soul. Witness Lord Myrkul's glory.
Okay, the first thing that happens here is when you do it this way, the enemy is surprised. Okay, and Philip, Isabel did not die during the attack with Marcus. She gets knocked out, and she gets taken back to Moonrise. You saw one of the winged horrors carrying her out when she left. Okay. So remember that because all of these enemies are surprised, every attack that we get against anybody that is surprised is going to automatically be a crit. Okay, and we're going to take advantage of that. And I want to make sure I'm taking advantage of this in the best way possible here. Okay, so now I can hit him. And I'm just going to unload here. Now I have an option for a paralyzing critical on him as well. Because remember, I have the ring that allows me to do that. So Isabel is now paralyzed for 2 turns. Now I'm going to take my next ranged attack here. That's a crit. Going to take my offhand ranged attack. And that missed at 64%. Now my Dread Ambusher. And after all of that, he's down to 18 hit points. So that gives me a tremendous advantage going into this. The other thing it does is kind of reset some of these detection cones, because now everybody's looking at him. So I have an opportunity here just to finish this whole thing off. And remember, they're surprised. So I have a whole nother turn in front of me of attacks to be able to make here.
Let's explore.
Okay, so he must be... I did not look at his resistances.
Ready. Unseen.
The 44% chance to hit.
Keeping my head down.
I'm actually going to bring us into this fight just to keep him from going along with me when my paladin moves. I'm not going to be able to get anywhere, so I'm just going to drop him into this fight. I want him over here because the intellect devourers are going to dash toward me. Okay. Actually, now that he's in, may as well go get an attack on Isabel. This is going to be a crit. Actually, I won't need to. Now, I want to get rid of them. I want to get rid of the Necromites. But I'm not going to be able to do that with their detection cones all messed up. So... let's just end this part. Actually, let's not, since we have a full another turn. Ooh, that hurt.
What comes now?
Okay. So that ends Isabel. Do we have one that's damaged here? We do. Because I rolled in front of everybody with all of my main damage dealers. Okay.
Let's spill some blood.
Isabel! My lord brought her back once already. Your death will be final.
Okay, and I'm holding off on killing him for a specific reason.
On the move.
Okay, so now my goal here is to take out as many of the other enemies up here as I can before I unleash the final blow on Ketheric.
Blood comes easy these days. I don't fancy their chances. With ease.
Don't think I'm going to be able... Oh, I can.
Well, so much for peace.
Okay. And now for me, I am not going to let Ketheric get a turn here. Okay, I've got a low % chance to hit here, but I've got 3 chances to try and make it hit. And... what is he listed at? He's listed as an undead, so I can gain advantage on the attack by throwing Divine Sense in this. And now let's trigger the next part.
What a fool you are. You cannot kill me. I am eternal. Myrkul, Lord of Bones, I am here. I am ready. I am yours. I am the But it is no matter, for I am death, and I am not the end. I am the beginning.
Shit.
Okay. Well, shit just got real, in Shadowheart's words. YouTube, pardon me. I will mark this as not listed for kids. Now, there's a mechanic here at work. And that mechanic is... Well, first, let's look at Myrkul. So, Myrkul has some serious strength. That's a +6 to hit, and that's a +6 to damage with this scythe weapon of his. He has Myrkul's presence, which means that when you're within a certain range of him, you're going to get Bone Shield, which means you cannot regain any hit points. You can't be healed. And that range is this entire upper circular area up here with him. Okay? He has Dark Vision. He's got defense, so he's got a +1 higher armor class, but it's a pretty high armor class already as it is. He's got an extra attack, and he has improved Divine Smite. So his attacks are going to hurt. He also has a mutable form, which means that you can't polymorph him and make this incredibly easy. Okay, he is listed as undead. He's resistant to cold, necrotic, and immune to poison. There's also another mechanic that they don't tell you about. And that's that the necromites are going to try and jump or make their way down to this platform. And when they do, once per turn, Myrkul has the ability to absorb one of them. And when he absorbs it, he's able to cast the spell Finger of Death. It sounds exactly like what it is. If you fail the saving throw, you're dead. End of story, that's it. So the goal is to kill Myrkul without allowing Myrkul to absorb any necromites. Okay? That is the end-all be-all goal here of this. Now, Myrkul also has this slash attack that when he uses it, it is in an AoE arc all the way around him, and it will push you back, which means it could knock you off here and cause fall damage. So getting somewhere with some other
I'm ready. I won't give in.
with some backstops behind you is where you want to position yourself. So I'm going to move over here first.
Don't waste a step.
Okay, and this is going to, I still have Divine Presence for 2 turns. You can see my Divine Smite is going to be hitting for some big damage here. But I'm going to drop my first one here, and then Myrkul's going to get a turn. And I missed an 88%er. Isn't that nice? And I missed another 88%er. Isn't that nice? Okay. There is something else about Myrkul, and that is that Myrkul is not immune to darkness. Myrkul is blinded, So now my attacks are going to have advantage to help again try and offset that big armor class that he has. Okay, now I'm going to move Shadowheart kind of over here, but not 100% up there on the platform yet. Okay, now every turn, at the start of the turn, Myrkul is going to spawn these birth chambers, and inside here's a necromite. So just because we kill the necromites that are up here does not mean that there aren't going to be more. So you need to focus those as well. Okay. Now I'm going to have offsetting, disadvantage, and advantage because I'm frightened here. But still with a 65% chance. Let's see if I can land at least a hit here. I'm actually going to... use my bonus action to haste myself. Definitely going to drop Luck of the Far Realms. Definitely going to Divine Smite level 3. Definitely going to Divine Smite level 3. Okay, missed. 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 Drop 2. So, if I wasn't frightened there, this encounter would have ended right there. It's just that simple. A paladin that is hasted, that is level 10 here, that is a Hexblade paladin, ends this fight in 1 turn. Every time if you're fighting in darkness and have advantage on those attacks. It's just the way it goes. It's how trivialized some of these fights can be made. If you notice there, I was making 6 attacks against him. I could use up 2 Divine Smite level 3, 2 Divine Smite level 2, and 2 Divine Smite level 1s, all against him at one time. So it just ends the fight. It just ends it. So from here, though, it's going to be a little more difficult to take off those last 14 hit points. He's resistant to cold damage. These spells aren't going to hit very well. Let's just upcast this.
Impossible. Death cannot take me. I am its master. My lord, hear me. Nothing. I am forsaken. You have no idea what you've done. Isabel.
and that also kills any of the remaining enemies who are on the field.
Ketheric's netherstone. It's in his armor. Take it.
Okay, so gives us a great point to save. So the takeaways from this are that, one, even some of the most powerful enemies in the game are susceptible to the darkness spell. You always need to look and see if the enemy has blind sight or Shar's sight or some other sight-bearing mechanism that's going to allow them to see through darkness. And it's important to check and examine the enemies before you get to that fight so you know how to plan it. Unbalanced, it's really not that difficult. You just walk up, hit him in the face. But on other difficulty levels, you absolutely have to do these things. You have to prep for them and find a strategy that's going to help you work around it, because it's just going to flat be impossible sometimes for you to do it. And on honor mode especially, you don't want to take that chance. Here, Myrkul is susceptible to darkness. That allows you to get high 2-hit chances. Your 2-hit chances are going to be 88% against him when you have advantage to overcome that huge armor class that it has. And if I wasn't frightened there by that stupid little spell, I wish I'd have counterspelled it, or had the opportunity to counterspell it. To keep him from being frightened, it would have ended it on that one turn, just because of the massive damage output that a paladin can do. There's just nothing else in the game that puts out as much single target damage as what it can do. So we're going to pick up at this same spot next time. Oh, in Astamura, remember, that wasn't actually Myrkul. That was Myrkul's apostle. That was Myrkul's kind of reincarnation in in physical form in this plane. Yeah, real Myrkul would have been a lot more difficult than that. But yeah, we're going to end it at this point. That gives us a good point to start up next time, where we're going to deal with the Netherstone that was mentioned in Ketheric Thorm's armor, as well as deal with all of the cutscenes and all of that sort of stuff that we're going to get concerning the ending of the main storyline here in Act 2, and then we will be able to venture into Act 3 next week. So it's going to be a good time going forward for the Paladin playthrough. So as always, I'd like to thank all of you for being here. Without your support, none of this would be possible. And until next time, fare thee well.